Just because I'm black, it doesn't mean that I believe in Jesus.
Okay, so yes, all right. I have had many encounters with people who know when they figure out that I'm black, or when they see me for the first time and they happen to be black or African American. The first question that I'm usually hit with is, what church do you go to? And it's almost as if I don't get a choice to say, hey, I'm not a Christian. Is that okay with you? And then the conversation and then the interaction becomes extremely awkward, right? Because it's sad because of the fact that the people that do come in contact with me who are black, who are Christian, it's almost as if they cannot see me being anything else, or they can't see black people as being anything else, as if it's not acceptable to be anything else. So it's really hard to continue that interaction when you have to tell them that, yeah, you got one thing correct, yes, I'm black, you got it, but then it's like, no, I'm not a Christian, or no, I don't go to church. And then the question becomes, why? Okay, slow down, I just met you, we don't need to go there. Okay, let's exchange names first. How about we do that? Because that shouldn't be the main reason of our interaction now or in the future, but unfortunately it is. And go back and watch that lady's video. Very, 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 very amazing point. Okay, and yes, it does feel like non-Christians that are black will feel like they're under attack if when we reveal that to people, where it's like, oh no, I don't go to church, like, oh no, I don't really believe in Jesus, and they're kind of like, why? They just feel they feel a certain type of way. They're like, I just like, what is wrong with you, right? Like, something has to be wrong with us. And that's frustrating because, Christian indoctrination in African American slavery was well over 500 years ago, and here we are 500 years in the future, and you can't seem to think that we could be something other than Christian. Like, we have become doctors and neuroscientists and astronauts and all these other, mundane things, right? We're teachers, psychologists. We're black people are everything under the sun, right? Everything great, all the greatness. But you're telling me that we are bound to one religion that's acceptable? That is so mind-blowing. Not only that, it's difficult to identify with the person after that, right? And she talks about how, uncomfortable she was after the fact that the person, labeled pretty much all atheists, as like a threat to Christianity, where she was talking about how we're not out here to recruit people. Now, I'm not an atheist, but I'm anti-Christian, obviously, but we're not out here to recruit people to our side. I've said this in other videos too. Like, we're not passing out pamphlets to join us. Like, we don't care, right? So it's almost as if you can exist being other, right? It's almost as if, it becomes obvious that they don't want you to exist. They need to either shame you, or they need to convert you, or both at the same time. Now, lovies, I say this, okay, as a woman who has an African American family, and like I've said before, there's very few of us in my family. I don't think there's even 4 of us, okay, in my family who don't believe in Jesus like that, okay, and we're doing fine, okay, like we're doing fine. We're not hurting anybody. We're not out here committing crimes. Like, we're doing fine, okay, and it's almost as if there's no better love than Christian hate. Is that how it goes, the saying, or whichever? Because then she talks about how after, she has the interaction, how uncomfortable she felt, as if like she felt, targeted, and she felt, singled out. And it's kind of like, it's scary, where it's kind of like you can't exist in the same space. Now you're gonna be, treated differently because of that one thing. Like, I could be great to you, I could save your life, I could be, good to you and, help you out, but that one thing will keep you from loving me. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And also, the stigma is so much larger than just the African American community, because whenever I'm at work, whenever I'm out doing other things, just in public in general, right, people assume, who are non-black, that I'm Christian, because it's such a stereotype, right? To see a non-Christian black person is a rare thing. I mean, rare openly. How about that? Okay. And when I'm at work, people assume, people treat me a certain way. I believe in the back of their head, they're like, oh, well, she'll just forgive me, or she'll just deal with it because she'll go home and pray about it later, when I will get revenge right then and there. I'm very quick to revenge. Okay. I don't believe, I'm not Jesus to forgive you. So I won't take stuff. And it's sad, because I think Christianity is one of the things that allow other cultures to treat us badly, because we're so brainwashed to believe that we just go back home and pray about it, or ask God for mercy or forgiveness, or we just believe that this is part of the plan, right? We'll just accept it. And then when they run into people like me, and they're just like, why aren't you accepting our disrespect? Aren't you supposed to, like, forgive us? The Bible says forgive. And it's kind of like, yeah, it says that, but that's not my rule book. That's not what I do, right? And it's such a weird existence. And that's the point I believe she was trying to make. But I wholeheartedly agree with her point, 6 minutes later in this video. But yeah, it is a strange existence, because people who are non-black see you as like, oh yeah, they're just like that. And it's depressing. It's not our jam. And some of you lovies know, and I've mentioned it before, that I do local theater. I do community theater. On my last play, you got to look that up because I don't want to mention it here. However, on my last play, I had these voodoo doll earrings on during one of our rehearsals, and one of the cast members looked at them and she's like, oh, those are nice earrings. Like, I was like, what are they? So I pushed them closer to her, and she was like, oh, were those voodoo dolls? And I was just like, yeah. And just like smiling, because she's like, yeah, that's what they are. It's not the main part of the conversation, but she goes, do you practice voodoo? And I was just like, yeah, but like not like in a threatening way, right? Like, again, not the main part of the conversation. And then she leans over to me like in a whisper, and she's like, oh, I promise not to ever get on your bad side. I was like, okay. But then I had to educate her real quick and say, it's not all bad, okay? And it's a voodoo doll. I don't practice voodoo. I practice hoodoo, which is something different. But she just jumped to that, well, that practice is all bad. And I was like, no, it's not. As you can see, I'm here in a theater at rehearsal, living out one of my passions, not hurting anyone. Weird.